like a positive feedbacks because we are kind of delaying, right? And let's go ahead. And we will have like a Wang Benrong today, okay? And actually, because of pandemic, and Wang Benrong actually is in Hualien right now, and we dare not to expect that he can just come over to Kaohsiung here today. But we are so lucky that Wang Benrong and the CEO of Education Mission is coming to Kaohsiung, and his wife too. Okay, and so we are having Wang Benrong and his wife today in Kaohsiung, and today he is talking about a lot of good ideas about vegetarianism adoption, and he really just divided the idea within 32 wonderful short stories, right? And we have our graphic designing team that do a good job on the posters about the Wang Benrong's stories and the presentation today. And after, like the presenters just give us the topic for the session, and we can just do our like a designing now, okay? And Wang Benrong is wonderful, at speaking and sharing stories, and he is in his like a humorous way, telling us kind of a serious stories in a funny way, and we feel really interested, and this is just fun as well. And the pandemic, like a COVID-19, now is a warning for us today that really like us to just be careful, because it is kind of a closure in the world, and the wonderful enough is that after this closure of the lockdown of the pandemic, I can finally come back here, and of course, right, this is a kind of great opportunity to show up here, and this is kind of a great honor for me, right? Okay. And one more example is that, is it possible for you to make breakfast for Master Zheng Yan? And let's take a look at the videos today. Well, there's something wrong here, but I play you the other video. And this video says that if you want to get rid of Parkinson's and some dementia, and it is important to adopt vegetarianism because of the alpha, like synuclein, the imbalance of it, and the prevalent virus will just decrease, and it will cause the dementia to the elder people here. And I really appreciate the videos that were produced from DAI-TV, right? And we can also just learn something that intestine is important because it influences our endocrine and the metabolism, and there are kind of a mutual influences toward what we eat. Well, and I will just send all the videos that I want to play, which I don't mean to play. Okay, and intestine is important, and how important is it? And that's really be grateful to like Wang Benrong, because he's already busy enough. But whenever we need him, then he will be always here for us, right? And this video is going to show you how we just do our like environmental protection here. And it is very important that we combine environmental like a protection and education, and this is really important, right? Okay, why is this important? Because we want our children to understand it as well. So very grateful that we have Wang Benrong here today, and this is a very interesting book. And today, I'm going to introduce you one more time about what a wonderful book, right? And this is a book that talks about the health and the intestine. And doctors will just, have something in the back, okay? And this is a kind of a BMI, which is kind of a brand and our like a microtopia. And this is a book that indicates, in a comic way, about how health is important for us, right? Okay. And when I heard this like idea, so I just give the illustration in no time. And I really admire Wang Benrong's like ideas and kind of imagination. and the writer Wang Benrong wants his readers to know very well about how intestine can just influence your health, right? And vegetarianism, of course, is a wonderful example. And the illustrator is just like the granddaughter that gives kind of interesting and like the funny ideas about what Wang Benrong is trying to convey. Well, here today, and Wang Benrong is not here to just demonstrate what he's doing with his book, right? But, okay, please hold this book still, and let me show you how good this book is, right? And this book is BMI, brain, microbiota, and intestine. He is so knowledgeable, and he uses a lot of good examples. Reading this book, and you will learn so much. And compared to this book, BMI, brain, microbiota, intestine, and we also enjoy a lot of illustration, and we can be relaxed here, right? Okay. And it's just like the illustrator in the film says that Wang Benrong really uses very, very perfectly on his rhetorics and writings, and he explained the difficult knowledge into kind of funny way. And we can really understand it, what he is trying to tell us, right? Okay, right. And he combines wonderfully in like a vegetarianism and how the intestine can work for this. Okay, and I think even like the pupils, like elementary students, can also really learn something. Okay, from his book, right? Okay, and Wang Benrong really use a lot of it, like a humanist. I mean, like a humorous ways, and it explain everything. Okay, in a really, really kind of fun way. And the people like me, like pupils, can really easily understand, right? Okay, and he conveys a lot of wonderful ideas. And today, let's go ahead to like Wang Benrong's wife, and she's beautiful, and she's always with him, right? Like me, it's never my like style that I cannot be that graceful, right? Okay, so today we will have Wang Benrong's wife, right? And let me tell you this, and she's also a teacher of our tea ceremony of Tzu Ji, right? Okay, and they're in Tainan yesterday. So talk about your schedule, like how fully tied up you are, and talk about this, right? Okay. And he was in Thailand yesterday, and later he is going to Hualien, and he could choose, to share his presentation online, but fortunately he's here, right? So let's show our gratitude toward like Wang Benrong and his wife, please. And you can begin your sharing. Okay. Okay, and today his topic is ideas about vegetarianism adoption within 32 short stories. Right. I'm sorry, I forgot to wear my glasses, so I just can't see very clearly about my PowerPoint. But that's okay. Teacher Mayu is showing you the PowerPoint files through my computer. Okay, so we can begin now. Okay, better or Mr. Zheng Yan and the message from the abode and all the volunteers online. Good day. And actually, every time when I come over to Kaohsiung, I always feel your passion here. And I also listen to like a Su Wei's like a wonderful assurance, right? And she shares not only a lot of touching stories, and we know that she is really, really brave, right? She's not a fear of anything. And let's go back here. And today, I'm gonna be sharing with you, my like presentation because Mr. Zheng Yan is trying her best to like promote vegetarianism, and therefore I share with you today about my ideas about a vegetarian, and I put them into 32 short stories, right? Okay. Okay. What is very, very important is our intestine, because whatever we eat will be like decomposed through our intestine. And let's talk about just the idea that was like presented just now about kind of a micro like bees, right? Okay, and all the like tiny bees will cause the world to just close their borders, and of course we therefore have to close our mouths and be careful about what we eat. I finished this book within 2 months because this is super important, right? And why I could just finish it so fast because Mr. Zheng Yuan reminds me, all the time, right? Okay, I don't have much time, but I still have to, do my best, right? And today, intestine tract is not only in charge of digestion and observation, and we know that it has like so much, with so many neurons, right? And actually, this is our second brain because of all the neurons, right? And 95% of the like neurons were within our like intestines, right? And we will just know that the intestine will just detect all the food information through it, right? And it is the biggest sense organ, and it is the biggest like organ for like endocrine and the immune system. And it can take care of over 20 kinds of like endocrines, right? Okay. And we are all the people that rely very much on intestine, right? And we have like hundreds of trillions like a gut bacteria, and it will just create a gut flora. Okay, and the gut flora is 10 times of our like cells within our human body, and all the gut flora contains like over like 7 billion, okay, 70 billion like genes, right? And which is named like a human gut microbiota, and it is like 350 times than our human genes, right? Therefore, compared to all the like a gut flora, we know that we are just minority, right? Okay, right. And the genetic arrangement and between human gene and the intestinal gene are just 99.9% the same, right? Okay, and the intestinal tract can just offer the nutrients to all other viruses there inside our body, and we have to really know a lot about this. So we say that virus inside our intestine coexist very well with our human body. So again, I say that we are what you eat, right? Okay, and within the intestine, okay, and we have like symbiotic bacteria which just coexist with us, right? And they are the good bacteria, right? But we also have like a malignant bacteria, and they will just cause diseases to our human body. And just now, okay, let me give you an idea about like a gut-brain axis, right? Okay, now we have a brain and we have an intestinal tract, and we have a gut flora, and we have like human gut microbiota, and they always interact every single moment, right, to help digestion in our intestinal tract, and it will control the desire of eating and the limbic system, and it influences our thinking, behavior, emotions, and all the mental thinking, right? Okay, so you see how intestine is important, right? Okay, and when we face the dysbiosis, and it will cause like a leaky gut syndrome, like enteritis, obesity, and the cardiovascular disease, right? And a lot of allergic diseases as well. And of course, it will cause depression and psychosis, right? Okay, so intestine is important, right? And it influences also our emotions, right? So it after the influences and the negative feeling will be sent back to our brain, and the brain will also send like a negative messages to our intestine, which will cause a vicious cycle. So it is kind of a bad thing for us, right? Okay, and if we eat too much like a fat into our intestine, and we had a bacteria named the gram-negative bacteria, and it will just increase in number, and it will produce LPS, which means a lipopolysaccharide, and it will just get into our blood, and it will activate the cytokine and sending messages to all the organs, and it will just cause like a low level inflammation, and such inflammation is related to obesity, diabetes, and a lot of like diseases like your brain degeneration. So if we can just reduce the intake of fat, and how good it is, you will know, right? Okay, and so if we got some problems within our brain, and we can just find some treatment through our intestine. Amazing, right? Okay, and within some journals named like a Cell in the Nature, we realize that a lot of disease like the neurodegenerative diseases like a Parkinson's, dementia, and like a multiple sclerosis, and they will just stimulate our intestine and cause changes in our bacteria in our intestine, and it will just cause a lot of disease. And it means that what we eat will just shape what we are. And if we eat bad things, bad food, and it will leave a lot of like brain disease or some kind of a degenerative diseases to us, right? Okay. And if we can just intake like a high fiber, like vegetables and like a fruits, right? And it will cause a good balance between our like intestines, right? So like for patients like Parkinson's, right? And it is that, okay, they have reduced in number of their prevotella, okay, and they are the good bacteria, right? Okay, and it therefore will cause a lot of like imbalance in our intestine and cause a lot of disease, as I said, like Parkinson's and dementia, right? Okay, and intake of green look food is of course better than red, right? However, people now prefer like a red meat, right? And it will cause inflammation to our intestine. And unfortunately, we eat like a Western like a dietary habits in a dietary habit in like American styles or European styles, which means we eat too much food. I mean, too much meat, and we intake a lot of food like that are high in like salt or like a sugar, and they will just cause the three highs, which are like a high blood lipid, a high blood glucose, and a high blood pressure, and they will cause like a arterial sclerosis or stroke something. Okay, and most seriously, and they will just lead a myocardial infarction. And if we intake too much meat, which contains too much like a carnitine and the choline, and your intestine will just decompose them into TMA, and the TMA will just be turned into TMAO, which will just be a very very big like threaten to our health, right? And they will cause like a vascular sclerosis or a thrombus or like a barrier on blood streams, or even worse, coronary syndrome. So if you adopt a vegetarianism, and it will help in your health by reducing the TMAO in like production. And aside from vegetarianism, and if we can just exercise more, and we can just have a like a good effect, like the reduction of a vascular like a sclerosis, right? And out of three people may die from cancer. And what cancer? It is like a colorectal cancer, right? And so colorectal cancer is the number one like a malignant tumor that kill Taiwanese people. And why is it happening? Because we eat too much red meat, right? Okay, and if we can just eat more vegetables and fruits, right, and it will produce like a tumor suppressor gene, and if we do so, and we also will have more like a high fever, high fiber, and they will produce like a vitamin A, C, E, and the folic acid, and they will just have like an like an oxidizing effect, and it reduces the chance of a gastrointestinal cancer. And other like diseases like uterine cancer, okay, and ovarian cancer will be also cured from like just eating vegetables and fruits, right? Okay, so if we want to live longer and healthier, and let's reduce the intake of salt and the sugar and the oil, and it's better that we can eat grain and root vegetables, and we can have more water, do more exercise, and have a good sleep, of course, right? And Vegetarian says that we can just eat vegetarian diets like 80% full, and we use 20% of the rest and help people who are in need, right? Okay, and right now modern people are also faced with a problem that is like overweight, right? However, we have a lot of people, okay, who are in like a starvation, right? Okay, so I put it into 2 and 8, means that we can save the 20% to help people, and this is a kind of a good balance, right? Okay, and in Tzu Chi, we have a vegetarian study group, and we also, do a survey internationally, and it says that if we adopt vegetarianism, it can reduce like a depression, like a stroke, cataract, or diabetes, and the gallstone, fatty liver, and the urinary tract infection. So how wonderful it is, right? If you take a vegetarian diet, right? Okay, and of course, also we have some good universities like University Bergen in Norway, and it also says that over like 200 years, right, and people die mostly because of what they eat, right? And I would say that the earlier that people adopt vegetarianism, okay, the longer they can live, right? And if we begin vegetarian diets when we are 20, and we can live 10 years longer. And in Japan, we have a university, Tsukuba. They also do a research for over 20 years saying that the dietary fiber can greatly reduce the chance of dementia. And this is a kind of a good like a result if we take like a plant-based food, right? Okay, and I think everybody want to be beautiful and handsome, right? And if we are on the way of aging, and it is all because of a free radical, and free radical is a kind of terrorist, right? Okay, and it activates a lot of like a chain reaction that harms our cells in our body. And fruits and vegetables are our natural antioxidants. And because all the cells has like mitochondrions inside our cells, right? Okay, and if we have a mitochondrion and it is against the free radical, so we are like a kind of a younger, right? We look younger by taking vegetarian diets, right? Okay, and through evolution points of view, and we will know that okay, our teeth, okay, the structure of our teeth, which looks smaller, right? Okay, and we also have a stomach which is like a comparatively like a smaller, right? Okay, and we have less as I mean acidic like a gastro acid, right? And all the evidence shows that we are really, really kind of a natural, like a vegetarians, right? Okay, and because all the structures are better in like a decompose all the like a dietary fibers, right? Not meat. Okay.
The human beings of our the acid in our gas in our intestines are not very acid, so we are. It's very hard for us to dissolve the meat that we intake. So our mouth is like a bloody and ferocious mouth, wide open like a sacrificial bowl to intake the animal body. And if we want to purify our mind, we need to purify our body, and by intaking vegetarian food. And we could also, by taking a vegetarian diet, we could reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, and we could also reduce the water usage in the whole world. And the we human beings has it's kept and disturbing the habitat of all the animals, and we eat everything that we see, so that the virus has continues mutating and recombination and through the replication. So that's why we have this pandemic for the past 3 years, and it's masking up the whole world. So Macedonian says that the best remedy of the for the pandemic is to become vegetarian. To reduce the killing karma, we could reduce the possibility of pandemic and war and famine. And to become vegetarian is to appreciate all the living beings, and also presenting your wisdom, and also abstain from excessive desire. So we have all the three virtues to come to the achievement level. And Master Zheng Yan says that we need to have the courage to encourage people to take vegetarian diet, because if more people are converting themselves into a vegetarian diet, they could affect the policies that the government make, so that the environment will change. And the last one is that the virtues and the merits is the merit is that we are able to see the true self, and the virtues as the equanimity. So if we could treat each other like ourselves, and so we are able to see the equilibrium in the whole world. And thank you. And all of us, we hope that we will be able to, all of us, we will be able to have a life that with no regret and no blindness. Hello, is your wife going to come up with to on the stage?
谢谢谢谢。好，
No.
我们在主场的这边的家人，其实
And we, if you come to the Kaohsiung Jinseho, you will be able to see today. You'll be able to receive the book written by CEO Wang Benrong. Wang Benrong, CEO, he represented the intestine tract health by making analogies to the kung fu world, that the kung fu masters that they compete with each other with their kung fu. It's like the analogy to the bacteria in our intestine tract, that all kinds of good bacteria and bad bacteria, they are competing with each other. If we could reach the balance between good bacteria and bad bacteria, then we would, if we could reach the balance, then we could achieve the healthy condition in our intestine tract. But our CEO, he is such a professor that who is full of knowledge of universe and the medicine, and also the listening to his sharing is making me feel like I don't know much, and he is so knowledgeable, and he opening our eyes, and it's listening to CEO's sharing is more beneficial than reading books of 10 years. And thank you for the sharing from Canada, Guan Xingling. And when I read the first book from CEO Wang Benrong, I was very impressed, because he knows his book is just like his book is very it's just like a report, and in the medical field. But he also have in his book, he also have other information from Buddhism, and also a lot of other fields, that he all combine all his knowledge together in this book. It's really hard that he always talk in with such profound sentences. Sometimes it's very hard for us to understand what he's talking about, but we could all learn so much, and it's really very impressive. If there's a sharing that if you have a light a day, you need to use the light to study, and if you have something to eat, you need to share with others every day. And so it's very touching and impressive to listen to the sharing from CEO. And thank you. I hope that I wish